Well, I will say this is by Julie Miller and Larry Campbell. He doesn't want to be left out there. But the point is that it's so appropriate for this film that Mark Moskowitz has done. It says a lot.
It's called Midnight Highway.
The song of midnight wheels sound the way that loneliness feels. So many roads I've wandered down just to be a stranger in every town. Young, the city lights called to me like false friends at night. I followed down this road so far, only to chase one more falling star. I rode high around the world, but all I want to do is walk down the road that leads home to you. Seen fame and wealth untold. I've left behind what I cannot hold. I'm traveling light, I'll see you soon, but for tonight it's only me and the moon. Out on the midnight highway, longer than I meant to stay. I rode high around the world, but all I wanna do is walk down the road that leads home to you. I rode high around the world, but all I wanna do is walk down the road that leads home to you.
Hello, everybody, Emmylou here. I want to let you know about a series that's streaming now called It Was the Music. It stars my good friends Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams and explores what music means to all of us.
So, hi.
David, it's so good to see you.
I
I
missed
can't
you
tell
all so much.
Yeah.
We just don't get to see each other.
Yeah.
You know, now that I'm not
No.
flying into Knoxville and
I
then
know.
driving over.
Used to twice a year, you'd come and stay at the
least.
house, and
At
you know, you'd
least.
say you weren't going to stay, then you did, then you were only going to stay one night, you stayed two,
right,
and
yeah.
then everybody'd come over and we'd have a jam session.
That was the good old
But
days.
now with my parents, you know, I'm just having
I
to
know.
rush home.
Yeah.
It's relief for me to be there.
We never get to talk, and
I know.
I just want to ask you stuff that
I
they don't care
know.
about, that I care about, you know. But so, when do you see? Let's use a widespread proven vaccine as a kind of a time marker in our lives. When do you see gearing back up? Soon as you got the vaccine in your body, the 2 doses in, you're hitting the road, or what?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I've wondered.
I mean, that's really up to the venues more than it is up to us, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Duh.
You know, I've been through this disease.
Yeah.
I may, you know, the jury's still out on how long the immunity lasts.
Right.
It may be for life, you know, for all they know. But I'm
Right.
not taking that chance, and I
Sure.
don't think anybody else is. But
Sure.
I will happily get the vaccine. It's really up to what kind of protocol is set for venues reopening and touring to start again, you know. I mean,
What's the deal with the Louvin Brothers mixtape?
Oh.
What's that?
Oh. So on the stage, I get a lot of mileage out of the fact that I'm Larry's from New York City, and I'm not. I'm from, like, as far as you can get culturally from New York City. Really the sticks, you know. Well, that's how we grew up in rural, on the farm, and Larry courted me with a Louvin Brothers mixtape, and that was a big plus in his New York.
Tell me about it.
I was enamored with the Louvin Brothers, as always.
Yeah.
And I was enamored with her authenticity as a off the
Louvinette.
farm, a southern country singer, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the real thing, you know. And I just, you know, how when there's a musical act or a song or a piece of music that gets under your skin, you got to share it with somebody, you know, and especially if it's someone that you know would appreciate, you know, and I was just excited about the Louvin Brothers, so I made a cassette of my favorite Louvin Brothers tunes and gave it to Teresa.
So it was a big plus on the positive side.
And with the hope that we would find a Louvin Brothers tune that we could sing together, you know?
Right.
And
Sure.
And we did. You're Running Wild. You know, that's
It's
you know,
fabulous.
yeah.
But each song was in its entirety. It wasn't a mix
Right.
like people do.
No.
Because normally when you think
No, it's
mix
each
like this,
song. But back then it wasn't. It
Yeah.
would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he'd been a
No.
pioneer in that as well.
No.
Well, you know, I've known both of you, as it explains in the film, before you knew each other. Teresa's like a sister to me. Lived with my parents, you know, while she was finishing grad school, and like a brother, she, more than my own sister would trust me as a brother, Teresa really trusted me as a brother, and you were engaged 3 times. And 3 times, you and I talked at great length about your fiance. And I said 3 times,
I was the runaway bride.
don't marry him. And one of them was like 2 weeks before the wedding.
Yes. Very sweet.
Well, you should have talked to me sooner.
Very sweet, nice, you know, I don't know why. Everything was great. I loved his family. It just, I don't know what. It wasn't the right person for me to marry, and I can't even tell
And
you
I
why
could
this
tell
day.
by talking to you
And
that
a
wasn't,
few-
but you were trying to convince yourself
Yeah.
somehow to make it, you know,
And a few
that's a
months
Southern
later,
girl for
when
you.
I broke it off, a few months later, I met Larry. Not too long later.
Yeah.
It's just funny how, and in true, my brother had died right when we got engaged to the other guy, so I think I wasn't dealing with the full deck of cards, you know, for the
Well,
whole.
I was there with the rest of the deck, obviously. So then, you know, Larry and I met. I've talked about all this and thing, but I want to just touch on it a little because it means so much to me. Larry's music lured me from the sidewalk in Greenwich Village into a club where I heard him playing steel guitar. And I sat there and I watched him. That's why I didn't remember it. I hope Buddy wasn't a singer, but I didn't even look at the band. But I just sit there and go, this music is here in New York City, and I haven't heard it since I was a kid watching Porter Wagner,
Yes.
the Wilburn Brothers,
Yes.
and then my favorite, Flatt and Scruggs.
Yes.
And, but it was jarring it was so alien. It's like an oasis.
Yes.
An oasis in this concrete desert.
It's the way it was the day I met him when I heard him. It's the
right,
same. Yeah.
right. And
Fell
then
still.
a few years later, so I bought him a shot of Jack Daniels.
Right.
it was still daylight.
That's right. That's right.
And we did a shot of Jack and walked outside and, I don't know, smoked a cigarette or something. And
I had just recently seen Officer and a Gentleman, and I was floored by your performance in that movie, you know. And here's the guy from Officer and a Gentleman. Wow, this is cool. This guy is serious cool. Let's have a drink.
then fast forward a few years, and I'm doing this demo with Rick Derringer, and I needed a steel, and he calls Larry up to Wizard Sound Studios. And I didn't know who he was bringing. And Larry walks in. I said, "You're the guy from City Limits." I didn't remember your name at the time. I said, "You're the guy from City Limits." And he paid so much attention to me and gave me so much respect in a situation where I hadn't maybe got as much respect as I'd wanted during that process. But he just listened to me, and we just saw eye to eye on the feel and his fills and everything he did. So when Teresa said, she said Larry Campbell a few times, and then finally went, "Wait a minute." She said, "He's a musician." I said, "Larry Campbell, is he a steel player?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Marry him. That's the guy."
It's the first guy I dated
That's
that
the
really
guy.
got your respect. It's true.
Yeah.
One of the moments I remember more than any other on stage with that guy is when we were playing Mr. Tambourine Man, where he was really giving it up, you know. Beautiful night, all these people wrapped up in what he was doing, and iconic song, it's part of the wallpaper of your life. I stood there and I said, "Look what I'm doing." Look what I'm doing. I'm playing this tune in front of all these people in the coolest way you could play it with the guy who wrote it. And I was completely in that moment just thinking, okay, cool. This is, I've done it, man, you know? Hello.
That was pretty.
Thank you. Just like you. It's good, right? It's good.
He knows we got a long ride back to New York, so make up for that other stuff.
What other stuff? What other stuff? Teresa here is, she comes from West Tennessee, and she's fixing to prove it to you right here now. And
My mama said you got to stop bragging on your husband. It's tacky and people don't like it.
And I'm from New York City, so that's cool, but technically that means that I can't fix to do anything, right?
It's complicated. I ain't kidding.
I I can get ready to, right? I can prepare to, I can intend to, but I can't fix. And can't fix, I can't reckon, and I can't go up over yonder. And,
Unless I send him up over
but-
yonder. Because I do know where it is.
Okay. Anyway,
Ran into Larry in an elevator in Australia. He was playing with Bob, but he was also friends with members of my band, Catherine Russell. And I was always intrigued by him because he's a multi-instrumentalist. He's playing pedal steel, he's playing guitar, he's playing fiddle. He's, very much like the kind of player I've always relied upon. David Lindley, I played with Greg Lease. There's this, the ability to change the sound of things by just changing one instrument is something I've relied on, especially in playing acoustic music for years and years.
We're kind of thrilled to be doing this song. This was written by our dear friend Julie Miller, and a brand new tune that she just gave us. It's like Merry Christmas here. And
After watching this film.
after watching this film, yeah, and we heard it and fell in love with it. And the title is "I Love You."
It's stronger than cement, too strong to ever get bent. It's gonna be permanent. I love you. It's on too strong to unglue. It's on too tight to unscrew. It can't be broken into. I love you. You don't know how far I would go for you. I would wear a scar with no shame that spills your name. I'd go to any extent, call up the president to erect a monument. I love you. Nothing can make it untrue. Nothing can make it undo. I'd take a bullet for you. I love you. Put it in the paper. Write it on the sky. Talk to the rainmaker. gonna be permanent. I love you.
We were all rock kids. We all basically started with the Beatles, you know, people our age, stuck with rock, you know, and then it got more sophisticated into Hendrix and Cream and this, that, and the other thing. By the early 70s, a lot of us became disenchanted with rock. Larry and I got into roots American music, what they now call Americana, and then other folks went into jazz.
Ornette Coleman was an old friend of my manager, Travis Rivers, from Texas, and he came to see our shows occasionally in New York, and he would request my country tunes. He loved the country tunes.
There's something in each of us that grabs our attention at a very young age, that just ignites a spark, and that's the thing we chase our whole lives, you know, and sometimes we see reflections of it or facsimiles of it later on, or we hear the echo of it, and we don't even know what we're responding to necessarily anymore. But we know it's there, we know it's the true thing, and we chase it again.
You know, whether it's gospel or country or bluegrass or, you know, blues, you come to that and it's a wide river, and it's deep, and it really brings a lot of American history with it and a lot of meaning, and it's also good for what ails you in the course of your life. It's actually medicinal. It will, you know, in it you're able to address your hardships and survive.
A warm turkey welcome, please. Larry Campbell, Teresa Williams.
Well, the mail don't come and the phone don't ring. I lost all I had. I lost everything. But now you're gone. What can I do? Well, I'm gonna take time out for the blues. Baby, you don't know what you done to me. You fill my life with misery. I keep walking the floor, wore out my shoes, and I'm gonna take time out for the Babe, when I come home, you were never there. You didn't think, no, you didn't care. But it's too late now, honey, I got some news, and I'm gonna take time out for the blues.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been nice to hear that tail end of that solo.
Yeah.
Could roll a couple more minutes.
We were one bar away.
Yeah, one bar. That's
Oh,
right.
guitar instrumentals.
That was.
Guitar
I love it.
solos.
I love it when Teresa gets that squally kind of. When she starts squalling. I love that.
Can we turn up John and Rosanne a little
You know,
bit?
I haven't seen this film yet. I'm seeing these segments for the first time, and I understand that there may have been some tension between Larry and Teresa on somewhere in the thing, and you know, Buddy and Julie have been together forever, doing their music together, and you guys travel and work on the road. Is that something that I guess people don't think of the road as being cooped up, but it is. You're cooped up on the road with each other.
I think John and I are a bit like Larry and Teresa in that way, in that we thrive being together a lot. And shut the fuck up. And we do.
Hey.
No,
What just happened?
We're not modern in that way. We aren't a couple who could have survived spending a lot of time apart. And, you know, sometimes it does get all consuming because we live together, we raise a child together, we are in the studio together, we're on the road together, we write together. But we know how to get our own space too, to regroup and come back to each other. I'm sure that's the same for Larry and Teresa. It's like you're together all the time and you got to find a way to level yourself out and get yourself back together so you can come back together in a pleasant way. I just don't want to hear what you have.
John, first of all, I have no idea who this woman is. I literally don't know who she is. She came in wearing dark glasses. I don't friggin' recognize her. Put this in your documentary. I don't know what she's talking about. Hey, you know, we like being on the road up to a point. It's the same thing. Hey, the way we frame it is we feel lucky that we can go out and do it. Can it be challenging? Absolutely. But if you have a good sense of humor, it's an endless source of comedy. And that's the way I've been rolling for about at least 15 years.
Yeah, you're a funny guy.
We didn't really go out on the road that much for the first 20 years of our relationship. For the last 10 years, we've been going out on the road a lot. It's good to have a finely tuned and flexible sense of humor.
Absolutely.
He's a funny guy.
Absolutely.
He's a funny cat.
You both hit that nail right on the head.
Yes.
Every damn day of my life, brother.
And he pours another drink.
But yes, the point.
Oh, she said I could say something nice about her. She is my best friend.
That's right.
I get to hang with my best bud. She's my little buddy. My little.
I believe it.
We've seen you guys in action, and it's plain as day that you guys belong together, and you belong together all the time.
We do.
That's the thing.
Yeah, we do. We're lucky to have found each other. It's totally true.
And that's, I have to say, the same for Teresa and I, because we did the being apart thing for long enough, you know, and both doing what we want to do, but doing it separately. And that's that glass half full, you know. It's just not, it's fulfilling over here, but this part is empty, you know. And once we were able to coordinate this where we can do this together and be together all the time, doing the thing we love to do the most, and it's a complete picture, you know. Buddy and Julie have been doing this for
longer than any of us.
Longer than any of us, yeah. And I first met Buddy in 1979. You were there, John. You know.
You were the first cat I met who shared my love of rootsy country-ish stuff. Like the guys I grew up with, they didn't care for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mostly in New York, yeah. It wasn't.
Well, I grew up with really good musicians, but they didn't care for the country thing. When I met you, it was like, oh, finally, somebody I can connect with.
Right. And Buddy was like the first male singer in New York City that had that thing that sounded like he was immersed in this music, you know. Our friend Lincoln Schleifer has started playing with Buddy, and Buddy was looking for a steel player, and that's how I got involved with him, Buddy and Julie at the time, you know.
So Lincoln is the linchpin to everything.
Yes, of course, yes.
Well, we moved up from Austin.
Right.
Which seems like a strange move to make in the mid-'70s, or you know, when Austin was so great. That's when I met Julie, and we love, you know, singing together. It's such an intimate, personal, physical thing.
Yes.
We loved it and every minute of it. We moved up there. We played in, we came up to opened for Delbert McClinton at the Lone Star, and
The
it's
Lone
like,
Star.
there's a lot more happening here than there is in Austin, or so we thought.
Yeah.
You know, we were all in our sponge mode, taking everything in and
Yeah.
loving everything. And, you know, I saw the Staple Singers opening for Janis Joplin. I forget who else. We talk about all those shows all the time.
At the Fillmore, yeah.
But we sang, you know, we love singing. The singing part, but we loved every minute of that. But everything in between was like a bit of a nightmare.
Right.
You know, just, you know, getting to gigs, being on the road, that is, not in New York.
Right.
And we'd work out things not in a good way on stage sometimes.
Oh yeah, we do the same
Yeah,
thing.
and so the person you love, who you're singing with, and you're sharing this deep, intense, you know, just singing is such a, you know, it's intense.
Absolutely.
And personal thing, and there's something else going on underneath it.
Right.
So.
Right. And
Yeah.
and much of the time that something else is a beautiful, positive thing that's enhanced by your singing together. But then there's this other stuff where the dark side can get even darker because of this intimacy that you're exposing to the world, you know, that you live every day and you're exposing it, you know.
Do you think there's a way to sort of exorcise like if you've been having a tiff and, you know, and you got to go on stage and there wasn't time to make up, do you think there's a sort of exorcism of those negative feelings that can take place during the music?
Sometimes.
I did a lot of damage in really seriously in our relationship, just in not working things out and just letting things go, and then just taking all the work. And I only took things that I loved and resonated with me and really moved me, but I took everything that did, and there was a lot of it. And
say
she
no.
withdrew, and then it was just like I spent, you know, the better part of 10 years trying to rebuild.
But that thing you said about working stuff out on stage, that's powerful to me. I think that, I mean, in a way, I don't think John and I would have stayed together had we not performed. And what Buddy was saying too, you know, sometimes you let it go, but then the music works it out for you in a weird, I mean, I remember us fighting and walking on stage and me kicking his set list over to him like, I don't want to know what you want to do. But then at some point in the show, I hear him give his best self to an audience, you know, I see him show his essence as a soulful musician, and everything else just seems petty at that point.
Yeah.
You see why you love that person.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've always framed it, or I learned to frame it, I should say, that it helps you step out of what I call your reactive self into just sort of your more universal self, so you can sort of get out of your reactive mode and sort of see the bigger picture, and then you see your partner in a kind of more universal light of like, oh wow, look at this extraordinary person over here doing this thing. So you're not so churned up and enamored of your own reactive self. You know, not that there's anything wrong with my personal reactive self, but you got to step outside of it occasionally and to sort of see the bigger picture. And being on stage, man, like I said, it's sort of a gift in a way. In a real way, it's a real gift.
It's such a gift.
I think.
And Levon would always say, if you were sick or feeling bummed out or just things are bad, whatever, you know, the music, it just picks you up. And isn't there scientific information that it alters your chemistry in a positive way to sing? I think that's out there somewhere.
Amen.
But that's heavy. What you're talking about, what the road, I mean, we're together, all of us, mercifully, after all these years, but there were some times when he was out for years, when he started going with you, actually, Rosanne was one of them, and we had been together, you know, and he started touring with you and, you know, some more people, but I had some really, really rough years of just being separated. I didn't want him not to do what he did, but just the separation was brutal. So it was a gift when Levon and Amy called me to come up where, you know, and so then that kind of made our thing start to bud.
If one of you writes a song and the other one doesn't like it, do you tell him or her? And does she or he listen?
Yes.
Yes.
That's all I got to say is yes.
Yes.
What about you
Yeah,
guys?
absolutely.
The songs I've written, her reaction is guileless to.
Guileless.
Yes.
I know what that means.
I do.
It's
No governor.
there's no pretending
filter.
that she likes it if she doesn't like it. But if she does like it, she's jumping up and down, you know.
Yeah.
Kicking and screaming, I will listen to what she has to say critically about what I've written. And as much as I hate to admit it, she's usually right if something doesn't smell right to her about the song.
Right, but if it's a musical criticism. But what if it's that criticism she was talking about, like she thinks you're getting back at her or something?
Well, that I don't pay attention.
You don't pay attention to
No,
that,
no,
do you?
no,
Okay, good.
It's okay if it is. That's the
Rosanne,
place
what
to
about
work
you and
stuff
John?
out.
I think that over the years we've learned how to separate it from it not seeming like a personal criticism, but more like as your partner, as your collaborator, this is my feedback. And we don't hurt each other's feelings with that anymore. Sometimes if he wants me to sing a different note that I'm singing, my family gets up about that because I don't like him telling me how to sing.
Yes.
If he wants to talk about a lyric, I'll listen to it, and sometimes I dig my heels in and go, no, I'm keeping that. Okay, maybe you're right, I'll change that. But my singing, I don't like it when he talks about my singing.
You guys hear me? Yeah, our esteemed director, Mark Moskowitz. Take it away, Mark.
Well, in talking about, whether you like each other's songs, I was there when Larry first played Save Me for Teresa, but down in the Tennessee house. And she did cry at the end of the song. And then Larry said to her, yeah, but you've got to sing this. And Teresa said, oh, no, not me. Those are your words.
I've used the term puppet singing in the studio. Oh, you want puppet singing?
Yeah. You want me to fill in your blanks? Oh, I don't like to do that.
No, don't do that to me. And if I ask you, that's different. If
can I-
if I look.
Let me ask you, John and Rosanne, let me ask you a question that I want to know. Do you mostly write a song together, or do you write separately most, or are they all sort of a certain percentage more of one and less of the other, or what's the formula?
I write with a lot of different people, so I'm writing all the time, and we write together a lot. But what's been interesting is that, I actually like playing Rosanne's stuff that I'm writing, and I think I have a frame. Like everything else, I've learned to have a framework about her response, whether she likes it or not. I mean, if she likes it, it's great. If she doesn't like it, it's like, oh, I wish she'd like it, but it doesn't like destabilize me at this point. Maybe it did like 20 years ago. What's interesting is that I'm making a solo record and I'm singing, and to play Rosanne stuff that I'm singing is like, oh my God. And some stuff she likes and some stuff she just goes, I'm not sure. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, but no, she's got I think at this point I think we're valuable feedback for each other, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's like, it's not that I put total stop. I'm not trying to please Rosanne. If I please her, I think I'm doing okay. But we don't always agree about stuff, which is cool too. But it's an interesting disagreement where we disagree. I kind of like it causes a creative kind of dissonance, but a good dissonance. Like, well, that's interesting. Why does she not like it? And trying to kind of get my head around it, and then having to really decide, like, am I good with what I have, whether she likes it or not? And that's actually a valuable process for me.
Yeah, it is.
I'll give you a short answer to your question about writing together too, though. I mean, when we write together, I write lyrics and he writes the music. When I'm writing on my own, I write the music too, obviously. But that's the way we share the load.
Right, but she doesn't always, like, I'll come up with a melody to something, a lyric she has, and it's not guaranteed she'll love everything I do. Most things. Not everything.
What about you two, buddy?
Now, what about Buddy and Julie?
What Julie
We
is
need
the
Julie
voice.
here.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
No, I know how I feel about something when I'm singing it for her. suddenly I know this is good, this isn't good, whether not from her reaction, but just how I even feel while I'm singing it for her, because I trust that so much. And when she has something, she'll play it for me, and I may tell her I don't like it or this or that, but she does not. She couldn't care less.
Yes.
And she doesn't
She's
take
so
it. She doesn't
solid.
take the. Yeah. She's always writing, and she doesn't really need me, or I'll give her my input and try to maybe steer things here or there.
Do you add music to her?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes. I mean, we used to a lot.
Yeah.
But she's pretty on her own these days. If we do a lot together too. But she's just, when she's feeling okay, she's just constantly
And you
writing.
said she has just papers all over that. It's like
nuts.
songs
It's-
all over the
it's
house,
nuts.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what he just said about knowing if something's good by the way he feels when he sings it to her, that is really deep. And it's so true. I have found that over the years, I've made him my perfect listener, and he's made me his perfect listener. And because you trust that other person so much, is that the nuance of how you feel when you're playing it for them, you suddenly know before they even respond. That is so real and true what you just said.
I'm always trying to get her to cry with stuff I write. Is that wrong? I don't know.
No.
Well, it works for me.
She's good at that. She's
Yeah.
real good at crying when I'm playing her something.
Yeah.
like either crying because I've touched her or crying because please shut up and leave me alone with this.
I know. I'm sort of like, God, she's not crying. Fuck, I screwed up. Not good enough.
Take it away, Mark.
From an audience standpoint, we throughout the film we have, Rosanne and John, Larry and Teresa. I got Larry Taylor and his wife Andrea from Canned Heat, Susie Brown, Scott Sachs. And we got lots of couples, relationships, Jack and Yorma, from Hot Tuna for 40 years or 50 years or whatever it's been. And a lot of musicians who have that affinity, but there's audience too. There's so many people who remember the first date they had because they heard a song, or a friend they made in 7th grade because you both had a Cream record, and you have that friend for life. And so I was just curious with you guys. It's obvious you all got married and the music is a huge part of your lives, but you have friendships. You find that affinity, as an audience with people and with your audiences that you connect that way. The music is so powerful since we were young, right?
Mark, we have our lives before we became professional musicians, where we were touched the same way you were by listening to music, and we have friends from grammar school and high school and whatever that we bonded with over these records that you were talking about, and our mutual musical experiences and our trips to the Fillmore or wherever we were going like that. But then by becoming professional musicians, our bonding turned to comrade musicians, like John was mentioning how him and I had this bond over a mutual appreciation and respect for real roots music, in New York City, which was a rare thing there, And Buddy and I had the same experience, so we're still capable of being an audience and bonding over great music we hear as an audience. But most of our musical bonding is with our musical peers now, in our profession.
Somebody asked me a question not too long ago. It was sort of more, I don't know, it was a complicated question about how you do what you do, or how you maintain relevance and over decades and stuff. And for me, it's actually, without a whole lot of effort, to be in touch with the 15, 16-year-old kid that I was, in which I felt this deep, unanalytical, unintellectual, but deeply moving, deep, profound connection to music as kind of like music saved my life. And in a way, it just filled me in a way that nothing else in my life did. To be able at 68 to still sort of feel that connection is, I know for a fact, it's a crucial part of why I've been able to keep doing what I've been doing. It's like, whether it's like super conscious or mildly conscious, it's always part of some creative pool that I'm swimming in to maintain that connection that you're talking about. And I'd be shocked if it wasn't the same for every single person on this Zoom.
Well put, John.
Well put.
Yeah.
I do think it's the I can't find the right word, not the soup, but it's the crucial, almost DNA part of why we are the way we are, who we are, of how we've survived. I know it is the same for me and Rosanne, because we'll listen to something that we loved 50 years ago and it'll just melt us.
Yeah.
And that fluidity and that melting and that feeling that you can't totally put words to is totally the fuel in my fire. I mean, like viscerally, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even saying sort of. It is. And everything I do, like I'm working on this solo record, I know it's like what I'm trying to recreate is the feeling I had in some semblance, if I'm lucky, something that I felt when I was 15 or 16, you know, where I had to hear this Beatles song or I had to hear this other thing to sort of even bookend my day, you know? So I know Rose feels the same way. I don't want to speak for her, but I know that she feels the same way. And I know that you guys probably all feel the same way. So.
I'm finding in this time we've got now, there is so much, we're a little more quiet time and just time to yourself. I find myself making a point of going back to some of that music from when I was young and just really listening and getting in that place and getting deep in it. It's a ritual every day. I do that for just a little bit. And I stay in touch with my friends I went to Woodstock with.
You were at Woodstock, buddy?
Yeah, a new documentary. Buddy.
It's so good to see you guys, just to look at you. You know, I
haven't been down there.
It makes me really want to see you again. Just want to be around you again. You know.
This may come as a shock to you, but we're not going anywhere, buddy. I mean, we're right here, bro.
I remember when we went out to dinner with you when we were first dating. Maybe we were just engaged or something, or not quite engaged. And John sits across the table and nods and goes, "So, this is Mrs. Slappy."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
You know, John was
Teresa.
We went on our first date.
Yes, this is true.
That's right.
This is true.
We went on our first date, and I was smitten with her. Just smitten. It was over. That was it. This was it. Okay, done.
I was too.
The first thing I did was go to a phone booth and call John and tell him about this date I just had with
Don't
Teresa.
tell what he said to you.
I also remember you telling me, I can't place it, but like Teresa saying, "What's wrong with John Leventhal? Why doesn't he marry that woman?" Like,
Oh my God, that's so true.
What the hell is his problem?
I was working on it. And
What is his problem?
And Teresa said that. She said, "What is wrong with John Leventhal?"
Well, that's another 5-hour documentary right there. What's wrong with me?
Thank you guys for being here, man.
And one
Thank
thing
you.
I love is that David was on the scene when all this was going on between John, Buddy, Larry in New York City before I knew any of them.
Mm-hmm.
That David was like witnessing all this music happening at the Lone Star and City Limits. And it's just, the circle is really cool. It's just great to all be together.
Hey, buddy, tell Julie we said hello, will you?
I will. Thank you. I definitely will.
Mwah.
Yeah.
Love all you guys.
All right.
Thank you all for.
Slappy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Slappy, call me.
I will. I'll call you when I get home. All right. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.
Slappy? That's what he used to
They
call
call-
you?
well,
But I
they
used to
called
call
each
him.
other.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he started calling me that
was
too.
funny. He
Yeah.
said
I don't know why. Some drunk night somewhere, man. Hey,
Right.
Slappy. The coolest thing ever recorded in the history of modern music.
That would be money.
My first words were, "You better be able to play that thing."
I said, "You're on."
The arts, you know, are able to communicate the truth of our lives.
You make the mountains look pretty. Lean too far forward.
Money is one of two people my wife and I both had our photo taken with.
Have you heard Blind Boy Paxton?
What does that say about the power of live music?
They're looking for shows that they rap.
You ever heard that one?
So it's quiet on the set? You guys recorded this next song with Levon Helm on the Dirt Farmer record.
Yes, we did.
And we didn't know that was happening. I think I was sitting just relaxing with Julie, and an email came from you with an attachment, I guess it's called, and I didn't, know that when you press the button and see what this is, it just started playing in my iTunes when we were just sitting, and we both just started weeping, hearing him sing this song.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we get to do it
It's
together.
a beauty, buddy. We were thrilled to have the opportunity to do this, and Levon loved it. I know he heard it and he said, "I got to do this song, man." So there you go.
There's a sorrow in the wind blowing down the road I've been. I can hear it cry while shadows steal the sun. But I look back now. I've come too far to turn around, and there's still a race ahead that I must run. I'm only halfway home. I got a journey on to where I'll find the thing that I have lost. I come a long, long road, but still I got miles to go. And I got a wide, wide river to cross. I have stumbled, I have strayed. You can trace the tracks I made all along the memories my heart recalls. But I'm still a refugee. Won't you say a prayer for me? 'Cause sometimes even the strongest soldier falls. I'm only halfway home. I got a journey on to where I'll find the things I have lost.